Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and All Out is in the books with a fantastic show as usual, but you're asking yourself, ladies and gentlemen, what just happened? Well, you come to the right place. Let's just dive into it. We have 4 matches on the Tailgate, which is essentially, it was 0 hour, and it actually aired on Max, not the usual YouTube. So the first match was the Opps team of Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs defeating the Workhorseman, followed up with Dane Gracia defeating Katsuyori Shibata, getting the best of them in their third match. Then we had the conglomeration, including Roderick Strong. So it was Hologram, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong defeating the Frat House. Then we had the quote-unquote main event of the Tailgate, which was the 8-women Tornado Tag Team match. Willow, Nightingale, Harley, Cameron, Queen Aminata, and Mina Shirakawa versus Mega Bayne, Julia Hart, Skye, Blue, Penelope before. And this was a very, very fun match. Ultimately, Willow Nightingale got the win for her team. Overall, love that AEW does pre-show matches, gets everybody on the card. I wish another company would recognize that. But we move on to the first match of the evening, which was Adam Copeland and Christian Cage re-teaming up for the first time in like 15 years, taking on FTR in a dream match of sorts. 2 of the best tag teams of their generation and of all time going at it. And this was a solid, fun match. There was a lot of just, we slow it down and we pay homage to the things of the past. Like when before the match even started, Christian and Cope were going backstage and meeting some of the famous Toronto Canadian people with Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys and the Green Bastard and Spanky and Clark. So it was really, really great. Ultimately, this came down to Copeland, one, paying homage to a longtime rival in John Cena. He hit the spinning out power bomb, the 5-knuckle shuffle, and an AA, which was all fun. But ultimately, Cope and Christian won after Cope hit the spear on Dex. The ending was a little weird, but that's okay. It was good to open up with this match. After the match, Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne appeared on the stage. FTR attacked Christian and Cope, and during the match, Beth Phoenix came out to take Stokely to the back, but ultimately she caught the end of everything as Cope was handcuffed to the ropes, and she ended up getting a spike pile driver. So this is not over between Cope, Christian, and FTR. Then we had our second match of the evening with the returning Eddie Kingston taking on Big Bill. This was fine. It could have been much better, but it was ultimately to get a win for Eddie Kingston. Big Bill. He looks great. And after the match, what's his name? Brian Keith attacked Eddie Kingston, allowing Hook to come in and help Eddie. So maybe Hook and Eddie Kingston will be a tag team. I like it. The veteran, again, at some point Hook has got to work by himself, but it's all right. Then we had the tables and thumbtacks match, and ladies and gentlemen, Mark Briscoe can get extreme. MJF can get extreme, and this was a crazy match. It very much lived up to the billing with an immersive use of the tacks and some significant use of the tables. Mark Briscoe just scared the hell out of MJF. MJF was not trying to get involved, but ultimately, this went about 20 minutes, and even though MJF tried his best to get the upper hand, ultimately Mark Briscoe won. He hit a froggy bow, then he hit another froggy bow through the table, and then finally ended up hitting the J Driller for the win. This was really, really good. It was a much needed win for Mark Briscoe. It helps elevate him up the card. MJF can suffer the loss, can take some time away. This was really, really good. I'm glad it went this way. Then we had probably the shocking conclusion of the evening as the Hurt Syndicate took on the Demand, which is the name of Ricochet, Bishop Kaun, and Tayo Leon. This was a solid back and forth affair. Nice little horse fights going on. Shelton Benjamin once again showed why he's just one of the greatest of all time, and Ricochet showed why he is underrated and undervalued. And ultimately, the Demand got the win as Ricochet ended up finishing off MVP with the Spirit gun. This was an okay match. The crowd was into it for some peak moments, but ultimately it never really gained traction. But I don't think this feud is over between these two teams. Then we had the TBS championship on the line as Mercedes Moné defended against Riho, and the outcome was never ever in doubt. Mercedes Moné won the match, and it just, Riho was never a believable opponent and a challenger for Mercedes Moné, so there was never any I want to say excitement. I'm trying to find a word and I can't think of it, where you could believe that Riho was going to win. She put up a fine match. It was good, probably better than good, but ultimately Mercedes Moné won, hitting the lung blower and then the money maker on Riho. Then we had a sleeper match of the evening. Kazuchika Okada defending the Unified Championship against Mascara Dorada and Konosuke Takeshita. And like I said in the preview for this show, we know the stories between Okada and Takeshita, and we just didn't want Dorada to come off as an afterthought in this match, and he absolutely did not come off as an afterthought in this match. This was such a fantastic match. It exceeded all expectations. There were times where, Okada and Takeshita were just going at it blow for blow, hold for hold, and Mascara Dorada was like, listen, I am here, I'm going to get this W, and he was just a house of fire. But ultimately Okada won, hitting the Rainmaker on Mascara Dorada. This was a fun match, but we know where we're going for this. We know what's next. Okada and Takeshita, we need this to happen. Then we had the coffin match, Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley, and these two dudes were just violent. This is what AEW is known for. When they need to get violent, they will get violent. Darby and Mox put on a dramatic show. This was filled with a lot of spots, like Darby biting Mox's ear and pulling out his earring, so Mox is bleeding, and then getting stabbed with a fork multiple times. They absolutely abused the coffin, used it as a weapon. This is one of the better coffin matches that I've seen in a very long time. But ultimately, even though you thought Darby Allin was going to win, Mox won as Pac returned, joining his Death Rider teammate. He put Darby in a body bag, tossed him in the coffin, and Mox closed the lid. This was solid. The return was fine, but I don't think this is over between these two men. Then we had a backstage segment with the conglomeration, and Mark Briscoe was like, yo, I got my W against MJF. Now it's time to finish you off with the Don Callis family, calling them out. And he asked Kyle, yo, what's up with our third man for the team? Kyle's on the phone. He says, all he said was, whatever. So we know who's coming back. And ladies and gentlemen, he is freshly squeezed. Then we had the AEW Women's World Championship on the line as Toni Storm was defending against Kris Statlander, Thekla, and Jamie Hayter. And the desired outcome of what I wanted to happen happened as Kris Statlander won the match, becoming your new AEW Women's World Champion. This had a lot of action, and it was really good. Toni Storm's reign is over, but these women were really solid. Now the question is, where do we go from here? Because Jamie and Toni got some work to do, and then we also have Jamie and Thekla got some work to do. But the key part of this match is that Stat won with the seatbelt pin once again. That is Wheeler Yuta's move, and Wheeler Yuta was out there before the match started, and maybe, just maybe, she joins the Death Riders. We will see where we go from here. But the one thing I am very much looking forward to for this match is, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to do Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale again. I am praying that's where we go, so we can ultimately crown Willow, Nightingale. But first things first, it's time for Stat to have an amazing long reign. Then we had the tag team titles on the line as Brodito was defending against Jet Speed, the Young Bucks, and Hachisato and Josh Alexander of the Don Callis family in a ladder match. And wow, ladies and gentlemen, I like that AEW doesn't. So the thing with AEW is they don't do a lot of specific matches often. So when they do them, they mean more, like the steel cage match, like the coffin match, like a ladder match. You know, so we have just a lot of action here. Every single person in this match got time to shine. It was very, very close for the Young Bucks to win. Like it just seemed like there was a chance that they were going to win, but ultimately Brodito won the match. Just, oh my God, putting people through ladders, throwing through tables. It was a fun match. It was a car wreck, but again, I thought it was also too early for Brodito to lose the championships. So after the match, we lingered on the Young Bucks for just a minute. The lights went out, lights came back on, and in the ring was Jack Perry, and the Bucks just jumped him. They whooped his ass until the lights went out and the video was on the screen, and we saw Luchasaurus be revitalized. Lights come back on, he's in the ring, double choke slam to the Young Bucks. Luchasaurus is back, takes off the kill switch belt, and Tarzan Boy plays. And ladies and gentlemen, the Jurassic Express is back. Is this the right call, making Jack Perry a baby face? Will that backfire? I don't know. I very much enjoyed him as the scapegoat. Maybe we can get a little change to his, you know, his character. So we'll see what goes on there. Then we had backstage. Well, Mox sent the Death Riders away because he wanted to deal with Darby, who was in the body bag and inside the coffin. Well, as the Death Riders pulled away, Darby escaped, put Mox in the body bag, and lit it on fire, and he died. No, I'm just playing. We're not done. Like I said, we're not done here. This feud, some say it's gone way too far. Hasn't gone far enough. Tony Khan, we heard, is going to be making a special announcement on this Wednesday's episode of Dynamite. We are praying, we are hoping it's one of three things: either a women's Continental Classic, a women's Blood and Guts match, or the women's tag team titles. I think it's the third. And finally, our main event, which started around the 5th hour. So this started right around 7 o'clock. The show started at 2. Well, with the pre-show, it still started at 3. The main card started at 3. So we had Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW Men's World Championship against Kyle Fletcher. And this ultimately, we knew how it was always going to go. We knew that Hangman was going on, but this ultimately was getting Kyle Fletcher up into the main event, letting him show his stuff and seeing if he can hang. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Fletcher can hang. This was an absolutely amazing match. This is probably the match of the night. They push their limits. First of all, the best part about this match is they hit moves from people that they had feuded with. So Fletcher hit a hidden blade. He was trying to go for the I can't think of Ospreay's move, not the Tiger Driver, not the Os Cutter. The Storm Zero. He was trying to go for the Storm Zero. Hangman was going for a one-way danger. He hit the knee from Kenny Omega. He also hit a big pressure from his greatest rival in Swerve Strickland. So this was an absolutely fantastic match. Kyle Fletcher was never going to win here, but it's ultimately about him looking good, and he looked fantastic. This was such just a phenomenal match, ladies and gentlemen. Overall, All Out was once again a win for AEW. They rarely, if ever, put on bad pay-per-views, and they never really put on bad pay-per-views. There's some pay-per-views that can be weak, but more often than not, you get your money's worth. Do they run a little long? I would say so, but we kind of know why it ran long today. Just the main event bleeding into the start of WrestlePalooza. But ultimately, AEW once again knocks it out of the park. We had some surprises, we had some returns, and now we have intrigue for what's going to happen on Dynamite this Wednesday. But that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give the show an overall an A-. Solid, an A- for All Out. Let me know what you guys think. What you think was the match of the night, and are you looking forward to Dynamite? And what do you think Tony Khan's announcement will be this Wednesday? But that is our show. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.